usually when you think of buttermilk chicken, you think of deep fried chicken, but you can skip the deep fried section and roast chicken in buttermilk. What happens is the buttermilk breaks down the muscle fibers in the chicken, making it super, super tender. And this recipe has a limited amount of ingredients, but the results are spectacular. All you need, however, is a little bit of time because the marinating is key to making this chicken super tender. Now I'm just preparing my onions. You need 2 onions, 2 medium onions that are finely sliced. And then in a big pot roast, just like this one, I'll place a bed of onions. This is a great pot to use because it's so large, which means you can cook more of this for a large family. So all the onions in one single layer, a little bit of salt. And now I'll add the chicken. Now my chicken preference for this is chicken Maryland's. You could use chicken thighs or chicken drumsticks. Keep the bone in it, however, because it's going to keep it nice and tender throughout the cooking process. The chicken goes on top, so no frying at this stage. And I'm using 4 chicken Marylands. This will feed up to 6 people, so spread them out. Then I'm going to season it with some allspice. So just on the top of each chicken Maryland. Chicken Maryland is the connection of the chicken thigh and the drumsticks. So they're my 2 favorite parts of the chicken to eat. Another generous amount of salt over the chicken. And then my 2 favorite herbs with this, bay leaves, fresh bay leaves if you can get hold of them, and a big handful of fresh thyme. Nothing like fresh thyme and chicken. It goes so well together and the smell, so good. And then it's as simple as covering it with some buttermilk. So buttermilk you can get everywhere in your supermarket. And before it's cooked, it's quite acidic. But once it's cooked, it's going to turn into creamy curds. Now the lid goes on and I place this in the fridge for at least 2 hours to marinate, even better overnight. After that, I'll bring it out of the fridge, bring it to room temperature, and then roast it in the oven at 160 degrees for 35 minutes. Then I'll take the lid off and cook it for another 40 minutes. Now the chicken has been cooking for about 35 minutes, so it's now time to take the lid off. Oh, it smells good. And start to baste it. Now the chicken skin has started to caramelize too, and look at that. See how it started to curdle? That is flavor right there. By basting it 3 or 4 times throughout this last cooking process, we're going to get gorgeous caramelized skin, even more than there is there, and different layers of the buttermilk. This is such an interesting way of cooking, and not only is the chicken going to be tender, but there's going to be a really beautiful flavor with it. All right, in it goes again. And then, like I said, basting it 2, 3, maybe 4 times if you're very patient. This looks fantastic. The chicken's cooked, the curds are looking great, and there's that little crust that's developed after basting the chicken a few times. Now, I like to serve this in my French heritage pot roast. I think it just looks fantastic. And then garnish it just with some fresh thyme sprigs. If you like, you could add some potatoes, just some waxy potatoes like Dutch cream or some kipflers, even chat potatoes, halfway throughout the cooking process, and that could be a meal in itself with a big bowl of veggies.